The cleanup is underway for Typhoon Koinu's trail of destruction. Could Taiwan be sitting on top of an endless energy source? We find out as the first geothermal plant powered by volcanic energy is launched. A second Taiwan official turns their back on National Day celebrations. We find out why. Plus, one talented Taiwan hairdresser makes the cut on the international stage. Welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao with 30 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Typhoon Koinu has left one person dead and over 300 injured in Taiwan. The storm has passed, but work to fix the damage it's left behind is still ongoing. John Van Trieste gives us the latest.
Toppled scooters and broken glass. Fallen trees and downed power lines. Taiwan is cleaning up after Typhoon Koinu, the second typhoon to make landfall this year. It brought punishing winds, with record-breaking gusts of over 300 kilometers an hour in some places. More than 300 people were hurt, and Koinu's strong winds killed one person, a woman in the central city of Taichung. Crews worked into the evening to restore power to tens of thousands of homes across central Taiwan. And in the country's rugged interior, workers have been trying to restore access to an area cut off when a river burst its banks and washed out the road. Locals had been evacuated before the storm, but now can't go home. But that isn't guaranteed to last. Taiwan's mountainous areas are prone to severe landslides. Storms that scraped past the country earlier this year have caused repeated damage to infrastructure, meaning that while Koinu has passed Taiwan and is now heading toward China, officials can't let their guard down yet. Joseph Wu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
New Taipei's energy grid will soon have a new and unusual power source: volcanoes. The Shihuangziping pilot geothermal power plant is the first in Taiwan to draw energy from a volcano, and it goes live later this month. Geothermal energy is considered one of the most sustainable energy sources and produces almost no carbon emissions. Heat from the Datun volcanoes will bring power to around 1,500 households in New Taipei City. It's part of efforts since 2019 to phase out nuclear power. Construction on another volcano-powered geothermal power plant will begin later this year. To find out more about the country's plans for geothermal power, our reporter Rosie Greninger spoke with Wang Shouchen, the executive director of the Taiwan Geothermal Association.
What are the benefits of using geothermal energy?
So using the geothermal energy all over the world, we know this is a very stable and very environmental friendly green power. And it's because of the technology is progress very fast. So in Taiwan, we have full of hot springs, and we have quite a lot of volcano and submarine volcano. That makes us geothermal is a promising energy that we can utilize in the near future.
There have been arguments against the use of geothermal energy. How do you respond to this?
The first one is about the seismic event or the people fear of the disaster from the earthquake. But we know that the geothermal development won't cause serious earthquake, just a micro earthquake. You cannot feel on the ground. And the second is about the CO2 emission or other air pollution materials that may be released from the geothermal production. But all the material will collect and will re-inject into the formation and make the geothermal power plant is net zero carbon emission green power.
Taiwan is moving towards net zero by 2050. How much could this help with Taiwan's renewable energy efforts?
We're just beginner. We have only 3 geothermal power plants in the recent 3 years. And when we have to move, but we have to move into the net zero based on the policy. So what the government planned is to set 3 to 6 gigawatt geothermal power by 2050.
Taiwan has plans for construction on a second geothermal plant powered by the Datuan volcanic group in northern Taiwan. How much could Taiwan rely on volcanic geothermal energy moving forward?
We know Taiwan have a lot of technology in the seismology and have a lot of expert in this field. So I would strongly suggest our government to utilize this human resource and this technology to identify all the hydrothermal activity and also some accessible geothermal reservoir in the volcanic area.
That was Wang Souzhen with the Taiwan Geothermal Association speaking to Rosie Greninger about the launch of Taiwan's first geothermal plant being powered by volcanic energy. The mayor of Taipei has become the second high-profile politician to say he'll miss Taiwan's main National Day celebration. Mayor Chiang Wan-an joins former President Ma Ying-jeou. Both are members of the opposition Kuomintang or KMT. Ma says he'll boycott the government's October 10th event because its English branding does not include Taiwan's official name, the Republic of China. Chiang says he'll be at his local government celebration instead. The dispute comes just 3 months before Taiwan votes in a bitterly fought general election. The National Day celebration in Taipei isn't the only one. Taiwan's representative offices overseas hold their own events. What does the one in Fiji look like? Louise Watt brings us this report from the South Pacific island nation.
This is a map made of fruit grown by a Taiwan technical mission here in Fiji. And it's the centerpiece of an event that Taiwan is hosting to celebrate its National Day. China claims Taiwan and views a National Day event as sensitive. In 2020, there was an altercation after Chinese diplomats gatecrashed the event and took offense at a cake, like this one this year, that displayed the Taiwan flag. China's foreign ministry later called it a fake flag. Fiji doesn't have official relations with Taiwan, but China. And this event comes as a Chinese naval training vessel turned up in Suva's port. China says the training mission is designed to strengthen maritime practical cooperation and mutual trust with Fiji, showing that even with a change of government last year, relations between China and Fiji are still quite close. Klein Wong and Louise Watt in Suva, Fiji for TaiwanPlus.
International NGO Freedom House has warned that internet freedoms around the world have declined for the 13th year in a row. That's according to a new report released by the group. The annual report placed Taiwan first in the Asia-Pacific and sixth in the world for internet freedoms. The report blamed the use of AI for a worldwide increase in online disinformation campaigns, censorship, and surveillance. China, which was ranked at the bottom of the ranking for the 9th year in the row, has invested heavily in this technology. Japan is releasing more wastewater from the wrecked Fukushima power plant, part of a decades-long plan. Taiwan is making its own preparations to monitor its waters in the long term. Eric Gao has more.
More radioactive water from Japan's Fukushima power plant dumped into the ocean. It's only the second batch, with more to come for the next 3 decades. That water will eventually spread and reach Taiwan's shores. And that's why the Nuclear Safety Commission here will be closely monitoring the situation.
包括我们要掌握源头的资讯，然后会做每日的扩散预报，然后以及做强化我们的海域监测，包括海水啊、渔产啊、食品啊，这些也都在持续的强化。
The Nuclear Safety Commission tests waters around Taiwan every few months. They'd like to send officials to monitor the water quality at the source in Japan, to see if filters there are working properly and publicize that information back home. But that's not likely to happen, since there aren't official ties between Taipei and Tokyo.
那你现在已经开始排放啦，那你是不是应该这个时候让其他邻近的关系国也都到排放点的附近去进行取样？
Lacking access to the source, Taiwan's nuclear officials can only test in its own waters, and they'll have to carry out those tests for years to come.
我们今天看的绝对不是只有现在这个月此时此刻的 这个海水的里面的放射性火种的核种的活度是不是符合排放标准，是长期都要进行监测。
Taiwan's officials are gearing up for the long haul to continue monitoring the country's waters and making sure they're safe. Chris Ma, Pichi Zhuang, Kate Wong, and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
About 30 U.S. Air Force veterans and their families returned to Taiwan this week to remember their time posted on the island. Charlie Storer has more.
A salute to friendships forged half a century ago. This group of U.S. Air Force veterans were once stationed in Taiwan. They've come to the Black Bat Memorial Hall in Hsinchu in the north of the country to reminisce on a time when Washington had a military alliance with Taipei.
We have 33 people that actually came on this trip, both military members and some spouses, and we've been on a 2-week trip around Taiwan.
Jim Dwyer was a C-130 military transport pilot stationed in Taiwan during the Vietnam War. Even though Taiwan wasn't a combatant in the war, it provided an important staging post for US military forces. From Qingchuankang Air Base, or CCK, in central Taiwan, Mr. Dwyer flew airdrop, resupply and transport missions for American and Allied ground forces.
At CCK, there were 5 squadrons of C-130s. Our wing was the 374th TAC Airlift Wing, and then there was a rotational squadron that came out of the United States, out of either Dyess Air Force Base, Langley Air Force Base, McCord Air Force Base. They would come for like a 90-day rotation. So we had close to 100 C-130s at CCK at any one time, somewhere in the neighborhood of about 6,500 people, and it was all in support of operations in Vietnam.
Until 1979, the United States recognized the Republic of China on Taiwan as the government of all of China and maintained a military alliance with Taipei. That all changed when Washington switched recognition to Beijing. The US's Taiwan Defense Command shut for good shortly after, and the US military withdrew from the country. Jim met his wife during this time and now spends half the year in Taiwan as his second home. But for many of his fellow airmen, this is the first time they've been back to Taiwan in decades.
I loved it. We were here 52 years ago and thought it was a great place. And this is my first time back, and it's changed so much. But I think Taiwan is an amazing place. We love the country and we love the people, and it's wonderful to be back again.
While the official military alliance between Taiwan and the US is no more, the two sides maintain close ties. The US is Taiwan's biggest supplier of military hardware, like the F-16 fighter jet, and helps train Taiwanese troops. It's a relationship that these veterans are proud to see continue.
But I know they come here and train the Taiwan military on a regular basis, and that's a good thing. And Taiwan now has the F-16V model, and that's a very good weapon system. And I just pray and hope that Taiwan remains a free and democratic country.
The relationship with the United States has been one of the most consequential in Taiwan's history. And while governments and policies change over the years, these veterans stand as proof that people-to-people ties last a lifetime. Chris Ma, Sam Hui, Ed Moon and Charlie Storer for TaiwanPlus.
Coming up, is Arizona's record-breaking drought a deal-breaker for chip investors? We find out after the break.
For more stories from Taiwan and around the world, download the TaiwanPlus app.
At a time when the world feels more divided, a platform for diverse voices to come together. I'm Divi Gopalan. Join the dots. Be part of the conversation. Connected where opinions matter.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. The U.S. city of Phoenix, Arizona has reported its driest monsoon season ever. That's caused an uphill battle for the wave of chip firms moving to the desert state as semiconductors require a huge amount of water to make. Joyce Sung reports.
Baking under the dry Arizona heat, even the U.S. state's iconic saguaro cactus is struggling to survive. Arizona's capital, Phoenix, has just recorded its lowest rainfall levels in almost a century.
It's officially been listed as the driest monsoon season on record. So the driest that has been recorded before this year was back in you have to go all the way back to 1924.
It's been an ongoing problem as extreme weather attributed to climate change has rippled across the globe. But for Phoenix, this intense heat and severe lack of water could become very costly. The area is a hotspot for semiconductor investments, an industry which requires a lot of water to function. Almost 8 gallons are needed to make just one chip, and to operate chip-making factories or fabs need millions of gallons of water a day. That's because the high-tech pieces need to be repeatedly rinsed with ultra-pure water, and its machines constantly cooled by water systems.
Water is so valuable to the semiconductor manufacturing process. I don't really see water as being replaced because it's just the standard and all the systems are kind of set up for it.
Taiwan, the home of world-leading chipmaker TSMC, has also battled droughts. A couple of years ago, some fabs resorted to hauling in water by the truckload just to keep operations going. But analysts say that delivering water is a valid solution, since once fabs get it there, they can reuse the water over and over again.
It's an engineering problem. You can bring the water from somewhere, and with the expectation is that once the water is put in the fab, it's basically there.
But getting enough water into Arizona will still be a tall order. The state is also facing a number of other challenges like housing and talent. There's mounting pressure on the state's officials, especially on its governor, Katie Hobbs, to maintain investor confidence. During a private reception with business leaders in Taipei in late September, she said she's aware of the issues and is working to fix them.
Working to tackle the water crisis, we're working to tackle our housing. We have a lot of challenges, and my administration is focused on addressing all of them.
As the temperature and pressure climbs in Arizona, its officials will have to grapple with how to distribute its valuable resources and keep not just global businesses happy, but local ones too. Howard Zhang and Joyce Sun for TaiwanPlus.
At least 18 people are dead and over 100 are missing after a glacial lake in India burst. Heavy rainfall in the Himalayan state of Sikkim caused Lanak Lake to overflow, causing flash floods that destroyed roads and bridges. Local officials say a dam, drinking water supplies, and sewage treatment plants have also been severely damaged. Both state and national level teams are involved in the rescue effort. Flooding is not rare in this part of India, but scientists say incidents like these are becoming more frequent and intense due to the climate crisis. Bangladesh has received the first batch of fuel for their Russian-built nuclear power plant. The plant is still under construction in the country's west and will power around 15 million households. It is one of two being built with an almost $12 billion loan from Russia. The first unit is expected to come online at the end of next year. Last month was the hottest September on record, according to new data. The European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service found that average surface air temperatures reached 16.38 degrees Celsius last month. It's almost 1 degree higher than the average September temperature for the last 80 years, and is the biggest jump in that period. Scientists say that this increase is extraordinary. The findings put 2023 on track to be the hottest year since records began. The 2023 Taiwan Design Expo has kicked off in New Taipei City. Yvonne Yang takes a closer look.
The Taiwan Design Expo is one of the biggest of its kind. This year is taking place in New Taipei City and is putting Taiwan's most populous municipality center stage. The expo starts with the theme, Where Mountains and Rivers Start, using drone footage shot by the late filmmaker Qi Bolin, showing the beautiful natural scenery of northern Taiwan. New Taipei's industries are in the spotlight as well. Designers worked with companies and local authorities to develop innovative and sustainable products. Take this wooden chair. It's made from construction waste. The project is called the Job Site Plan. It aims to reduce construction waste by recycling those materials and making furniture out of them.
我们既然已经从地球上拿了这么多的资源，那这些资源是不是我们可以尽量的去善用它？所以我们想要新东西的时候，我们其实不一定，我们就是用新的材料去做。
Another project is this newly renovated classroom tailored for elderly students. It replaces some old items with new ones made from recycled paper.
当时就发现说这个补校的空间一直没有人专属设计过，因为补校他们都是将就用学校现有的，就往往在资源分配上是排到最后面。
The exhibition weaves together elements of nature, industry, people, and culture, providing a comprehensive view of New Taipei all in one place. John Su and Yvonne Yang for TaiwanPlus.
One Taiwan hairstylist is heading to the UK later this month to compete in an international hairdressing competition. He's spent thousands of US dollars to make it this far.
"15 岁开始当助理，然后19岁当设计师。
27-year-old Huang Hengshuo, or E.T., has been in the hair business nearly half his life. For him, cutting hair was a career option that didn't require good grades.
我15岁国中那时候毕业的时候，我成绩非常的不好，然后我妈妈希望我有一技之长。
And the success of others gave him hope that he could have a good life as a hairstylist.
是我看到很多跟我一样，其实以前他们在校成绩都不太好，但他们现在的收入却是很高的。我就觉得我可以靠这个来翻转我的人生跟我的社会地位吗？
E.T. specializes in cutting men's hair. He's won awards in Taiwan for his work. But a trip to Spain in 2017 inspired him to compete internationally after he witnessed another Taiwanese stylist win second place at a competition there.
我蛮被他感动的，因为他在台上挥着国旗，然后又是代表我们台湾。
E.T. has a shot at achieving his dream. He's been selected as one of 30 finalists from around the globe to compete in the Alternative Hair Show in London. The contest is a charity event held annually for the past 4 decades. E.T. says because the competition is a charity, it's more impartial.
公平性是很重的，因为他没有任何的，他顶多就一些厂商赞助，但是他们不太会介入。
E.T. also made the finals last year, held virtually because of the COVID-19 pandemic. He submitted an entry inspired by Taiwanese folk deities known as Ba Jia Jiang, or the 8 Generals. Though he didn't win, another hairstylist from Taiwan did. This year, E.T. will go to the UK in mid-October to compete in person. He will have to spend a lot of his own money to make it, paying for his own travel, lodging, materials, clothing, and a makeup artist.
我愿意花那么多钱是，我真的很想帮台湾争一口气。
E.T. chose his career because it didn't require good grades, but he's managed to turn it into an opportunity to showcase Taiwanese hairdressing talents on the international stage. Taiwan has won more medals in the Asian Games held in Hangzhou, China. Lin Yuting took gold in women's boxing against Kazakhstan's Karina Ibramova. This makes her the first ever female Taiwanese boxer to win a gold at the Asian Games, and 15-year-old Taiwanese skater Wang Youjun won gold after beating China's Zhang Hao in inline skating. So far, China has won the most medals in the Games, followed by Japan and South Korea. Taiwan, competing as Chinese Taipei, remains in 6th place with 16 gold, 15 silver, and 25 bronze. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of the Taiwan Design Expo. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care, and I'll see you next time.